Okay, so right across that series, let's talk about the Leafs and the Blue Jackets. Interesting matchup for sure. And I'm not going to let my bias jump in here. The Blue Jackets are a scary team. It seems as in playoff format, at least last year, they did the unthinkable. They went on a deep run. They shocked a lot of people. Do you think they can replicate that same energy this year with losing the pieces that they did?
See, last year, I don't think they shocked anyone because they were expected to because they had Panarin and they had Bobrovsky. This year, I think, is a shocking year. Tortorella is going to get Coach of the Year. He's going to get the Jack Adams for what he's done.
So you think the Blue Jackets are still coming in hot? They still have what it takes to be a team to be feared.
Dude, if you are getting coached by Torts, you live in fear. If you do not perform, he will bench your ass, and he's not.
So what do the Leafs have? What do the Leafs have to do to take this series? What do they have to make sure they have covered to take on a Columbus team?
They should probably just forfeit.
Fuck you, Dario.
No, they got to play some. They haven't done it all year, but they have to play defense.
Which are the defensive core is going to be a little bit in better shape now because they have some guys coming. They have Jake Muzzin back most likely because he was injured before the break, so they'll have him.
Riley's for sure healthy now. There's no question.
Morgan Riley is more rested because he was still rusty. He was coming off of his injury.
Tyson Barrie's got a much needed rest mentally.
But he needs to. He's honestly he's still a very up in the air player as a whole on that team.
What he's done in Colorado, man.
Because he is still not. Tyson Barrie still hasn't found his place, and I don't know if he's going to find it or if it's going to just be weird trying to find his place in this dynamic that he's coming back into. It's definitely different energy. They're coming back into this 24-team format, weird playoff bracket. Who knows? Honestly, I hate to say it, and I was really excited when he got traded to the team. I just think that in a year or two from now, whatever the contract is or when they try to flip him, I think it's just going to be a weird, awkward year where we're we had Tyson Barrie for a bit and he moved on and it didn't work out and it was just weird.
I think it's adorable that you refer to the Leafs defense as a core. That's really cute.
They don't have
God damn it! I knew – you know what? I take everything back that I said about the Habs. Habs are getting swept in fucking 3 straight. I knew it was going to happen. I knew I was going to say something good about the Habs for once. And then when the Leafs came up, I was like, maybe he'll be a little bit nice about it. And then he completely shits on the Leafs. Fuck, man. You fucker.
Yeah, so
classic.
What it is they don't even have to play shutdown D. They just have to play
our hands on this podcast.
They got to play a little bit of defense. Just positionally be where you need to be and help Freddie. And then as soon as you get possession, go on offense like they have been doing all year.
Okay, well, I'll say this. Freddie's the only guy that, never needs to be told what to do. He always comes into the playoffs hot. He is their best player every time. The only reason that those Boston series went 7 games for the last 2 that they had was because Freddie literally robbed them out of every possible terrible situation that they were on. Every time that the Leafs got caught in their zone, which was a lot in that series, Freddie was there. Every time that they were getting beat down on a penalty kill, Freddie was there. So he's always their best player. And I'm more confident now if Freddie, God forbid, he gets injured, knock on wood he doesn't, or something happens, fatigue, whatever it may be, I believe in our backup goalie for the first time ever as a fucking Leaf fan. Jack Campbell's solid. He fucking loves – you could tell the guy loves playing in Toronto already for the short time he's been there.
Your goalies are not that bad. What's your problem? Your defense. And thus we come full circle to the fact that you called it a defensive core, when in reality it is not a defensive core so much as it is a bunch of little individuals that don't know what the fuck that they're doing together.
They got a defensive couple of guys.
Defensive.
Yeah.
Ish.
Unfortunately. And obviously that's going to be the one thing that the Leafs are going to always seem to be in construction mode on. They never fully get the pieces they need for their defensive, maybe one day soon to be core. But this, for the Leafs, honestly, I think it's just going to be another one of those seasons where playoff run, sorry, if they get into that position where it's literally outscore the opponent and fucking have your Matthews, your Nylanders come back, your Marners, Tavares come back on the back check, because I still think there's going to be a lot of holes in the defense. Jake Muzzin's a good player, but we have to like assume that he's fully recovered. We have to assume that they show up, because there are some games. I remember there was one game against that they had. It was maybe a month or two before the shutdown of the season, where they played against the Islanders, and the Leafs literally were smart for once, and they literally mimicked the Islanders like defensive style, and they kept them away. They held the Islanders to one goal. They played like shutdown defense, and then they were able to score a couple of goals and hold that lead. But I don't know if they can. They obviously can't do that every game, because they're really fucking spread out with when they show up. The only thing that we can expect from the Leafs is, if they can score 5-6 goals in a game, they can probably win it, because they'll just hold on and maybe let 3 or 4 get scored on them, and then they still win by 1 or 2. And obviously those are fucking like stressful games to watch as a Leafs fan, because you have to pretty much throw the workload and hope that Matthews and Nylander and Marner go on a tear and do their job. Because even before the break, Tavares was he wasn't really putting up the numbers that he should be. Even though he's a bit older now, he should be doing some pretty clutch kind of scoring for the team. And he's kind of
The thing too is like none of them have ever clicked at the same time going into the playoffs. Like one's been hot, one's been cold, or like 2 have been average. Like
I don't know if they have the lines figured out still, because they got really excited about the Marner's the Marner Matthews line, and then that kind of fizzled out a bit, and then they changed it around again. They went back to the usual lineups. So it's like a lot of back and forth stuff. I feel like it's going to be one of those runs where it's like, don't put too much expectation, just let them play. And if they get bounced, whether it's the qualifying round or round 1 or whatever it is, even if they get past the first round for the first time ever and actually create some new history around the team, Dubas has to really get shit together. He's done, don't get me wrong, he's done some great things for that team, and he's definitely reshaped them with the help of Lou, but he needs to really address the shit that needs to be addressed. If you don't put a defensive core together for that team that's tight and ready to roll, put Matthews, Marner, look at all it shows. Look at all the talent you could have on the scoring end, but if you don't have the guys to hold down the other end of the ice, you're fucked.